Hello everyone, here's a demo on how to bring your files into Adobe After Effects and have them become a full running 24 frame per second video. So what you guys will be doing is uploading your photos onto your desktop, and I want you guys to label them image sequence test. Now when something is in your downloads, you'll be able to go to your Finder window, go to downloads, and all of your images should be uploaded in sequence. I've already put mine in a group, which is now on my desktop over here. And if I open this group, we can see all of my photos, which is exactly what we want. Now the program that you guys need is under Applications, Adobe After Effects, and there we are. Now, just a gentle reminder that once you have uploaded your images onto your desktop, a couple of things. Number one, do not delete the original photos from whatever device you use to take them until the end of this project. There tend to be a few technical flukes that happen with every project term that we have. Last term there were quite a few issues, and we're trying to avoid them this term, but we always want to keep a backup for ourselves. So do not delete any of your original photos. As well, make sure that you have a file on your desktop, and once it's there, do not move it. Keep the file with all of your photos labeled clearly, image sequence. Mine says test because this is a demo. But keep it on your desktop. Do not put it in any other folders. It should be able to stand alone just fine. And now what we have here is our After Effects workspace. Now I'm going to take you through step by step how we're going to bring in the files. So you're going to have kind of a new document option right away once you open up the program, and you are going to select New Project. And once New Project has been selected, we are going to go up to the top, go to File, Import, File. And now with your desktop selected, you should be able to find your image sequence folder. You're going to click on the folder, and this is very important. You are going to select the first image, the very first image in your sequence. And then you're going to go to Options at the bottom left. And you're going to make sure that Force Alphabetical Order has been clicked. All acceptable files, import JPEG, footage, and you are all good. And now we are going to click Open. And what we'll see here is that they have been brought in to the side, and this is where they have been loaded. We don't see anything yet, and that's fine. What we are going to do now is we are going to right-click where it says Image Sequence. We're going to go to Interpret Footage, and then we're going to go to Main. Now, here's where we make sure that we have the appropriate frame rate, 24 frames per second, and we're going to say assume this frame rate. And then the next thing that we are going to do is go up to where it says Color Management and click that. And we are going to make sure that Preserve RGB is selected. So that has now been selected. We'll go back to Main Options, making sure that assuming the frame rate, 24 frames per second, is as it should be, and everything else is all fine and dandy. So now you can click OK. The next thing that we are going to do is you'll be clicking and dragging this selection down to this little icon. So what we see here, it's like a little film strip with a circle and a triangle and a square, and it's called Create a New Composition. And we're going to do this by clicking, holding, and dragging the file over the Create New Composition. Once it's highlighted blue, you can let go. And you can see now that we have created a composition. And now we have things in our timeline that are visible as well. Now right now mine has come in upside down. That's not too unusual. I'll show you how to fix it in a moment. What we're going to do first is that with this composition here, we're going to right click on it. We're going to go to Composition Settings, and we're going to resize things a bit. So make sure that your lock aspect ratio is selected. We're going to change the size. And now most of you have done your photos landscape, which is wide. So your width will be 720. And your height should automatically adjust to 540. 40. Now, if you took your photos portrait, so they were vertical and tall, you will need to just switch those numbers around. And we can see that the frame rate is 24. You can also see a projection based off the 24 frame rate, how long your video will be, and mine is going to be just over 12 seconds. Also make sure that the resolution is set to half because we don't want these files to be too big. Once that's all set, you can click OK, and you'll see that things have adjusted a bit. Now we're going to go down to the timeline and fix this whole issue with the upside down footage. So here we have our image sequence, and if we click on this little arrow here, we're going to see a Photoshop that we're quite familiar with in Photoshop. Sorry, we're going to see this option that we're quite familiar with in Photoshop, and it's called transforming. And we see a whole bunch of different options. Now, the ones that we're going to be concerned with is scale. As you can see, this is very zoomed in. So just like in Photoshop, when we see these kind of side-by-side arrows, we know that we're able to click and drag to the left to create a lower number. And now for my footage, going down to 18% is what works best, but of course, make sure that whatever images you have, they do snap to the provided rectangle. So make sure that you're able to see everything. Now mine's upside down, so this is where rotation would come into play. So now if we want to flip something right around, typing in 180 will do that for us, and hitting enter, and now it'll flip it around. Wonderful. All right. Now what we're in right now is our timeline, and this little blue bar here is our current time indicator, and it's at the start of the footage, which means that this is our very first frame. So now with our timeline active, if we hit the space bar, you will be able to see it's kind of buffering, as you can see with this green line here. And it's going to go all the way till the end. So just let that do that. And then we are almost done in terms of making our video. A reminder that if you are someone who is familiar with After Effects and you want to do something extra to the video, I'll ask you to please first make a video just as is with the parameters that I'm showing you in this tutorial. You can make a copy of the video and do whatever you like to the copy, but please follow my instructions very carefully for this particular submission. So now just to clarify, with it buffering, it's clearly not going at 24 frames per second right now. We're seeing it at a much slower speed. Just as it continues, we're about halfway there at 6 seconds. And once the green line gets all the way to the end, it'll run in a loop showing you at speed. But it is cool to see how many photos were taken for each action, kind of reflect. If your hand entered the shot at any time, that will be apparent as well when it's going at this pace. I believe that one of my hands got caught in one of these pictures. Friendly reminder as well that you should be double checking your storyboards and the rubric to make sure that you've incorporated proper use of arrows, descriptions, indication of setting, all things that go towards 10 marks for this part of the project. As well, your schedule should be updated accordingly. If I don't see any eraser marks or any adjustments on the schedule, that only indicates to me that you did not use it on a daily basis. So make sure that you have proved otherwise. And yeah, there's my hand got caught. And now it's going to run through. And there we go, not bad. All right, so now just take a moment to go to File, Save As. And on your desktop, what I want you guys to do is put the initials of your group. So if, I don't know, Ali, Ben, and Corey made a video, it would be ABC. Stop motion. Make sure it's on your desktop and it's saved as an Adobe After Effects project. Click Save. Good. And now it's time to render out the video. So we are going to go to File, Export, Add to Render Queue. And this gets rid of our timeline and brings up a bunch of different options now. So if we go to the bottom here where it says Output Module, you're going to click on the blue writing where it says Lossless. And here we have some things that we really need to pay attention to. You're going to go straight to Format Options. And where it says Video Codec, we're going to change it from Animation to H.264. You're going to select that. Everything else is fine. I'm going to click OK. And there's nothing else to be changed here, so you can click OK again. So now what this has done is changed it so that when it is converted, it's going to be turned into a QuickTime movie. And output 2, this is you telling it where it's going to go. So you're going to click on it and make sure you give it that name again. So ABC _ stop motion. Make sure it's saved to your desktop so you can find it easily. It's going to have the extension MOV for QuickTime Movie. Click Save. So all that has now been taken into consideration. And now this button here that says Render, now it'll do just that. So again, we see a bit of buffering going on. Just let it work through, don't interrupt it, let it be. And that magical sound means that it is done. So now if you just minimize this on your desktop now, you should be able to find your video. So if you double click on that, QuickTime should open up. You'll be able to press play and see your video play at speed. Fantastic. Don't worry about submitting it yet. I will go over that the next time that I am in class with everyone. And now with your After Effects file, you can just hit Command S just to make sure that everything is saved. And you can hit X. All right, now, if this pops up, do not worry about it. For some reason, After Effects likes to play this game. Your work is fine. If you have the MOV file, then you are good. Just hit ignore and click OK. I'm not sure why it does it. After Effects is a drama queen. All right, but that's all I got for you guys. Fantastic work.